Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. This is part two of a video I was doing in regards to how I approach women. As a fantastic YouTube commenter made a mention, and I've got that comment here. So if you want to really, this is some serious game, to be honest with you. This is some good stuff. This is some good knowledge here through my own personal experiences. I'm going into depth on this one. Well, I'm going into so much depth. I can break this off into so many different videos and raise the magnifying glass on these different things I've said. But if you have a look at video number one, part number one, right, I spoke on approaching women in more so of an indirect fashion as opposed to a concentrated direct fashion, which is what they showcase to you on these like pickup artist in field videos and whatnot, which most of them will be fake anyway, let's be real. And how I feel it's not optimal. Now, not only that, but when you are to talk to strangers in the street and whatnot, what you are supposed to approach them, what you're supposed to look at and observe prior to ensure that it is an effective communication and you can sort of break into their world without being too shocking and threatening that automatically their shields are up. I speak on my experience reading body language and knowing who's interested and whatnot through my day-to-day sales. I used to sell cold products in the street. I'd just approach people, groups of women at a time to time, and it was women for the most part, purely as they're easier persuaded. So as a salesperson, it's always good to speak to the woman as opposed to the man. Generally speaking, they are the buyer's market. So I speak on all these things, and I've only just started to discuss the pickup line, or at least, what one may consider my go-to when it comes to approaching women and getting them to engage in conversation and how to have effective and constructive development in our relationship from there on. I just started to speak on that in the last video, and I'm going to continue on from there. So with that being said, I've got the comment here. It was on a video in regards to arguing with your girlfriend, and it says, "Yo, dude, I won't use his username, but it's like, yo, dude, can you link me to a video where you explain what you say in an approach?" Okay, so we'll continue on from the last video. So I said, how are you? How are you doing? How's your day going? How's your day been? Sort of, creates more space and more leverage and more room for discussion and sort of depersonalizes it a little bit from a bold "how are you?" Because someone could think, why do you want to know about me? First thing you're asking is me. But "how's your day been?" means you can detach yourself from yourself and just apply it to the world around you and how your experience is. And if anything, you're gonna garner more emotional context, because they're never gonna really reveal who they are or what they're going through from the first question from a stranger when that's been asked. But when it comes to "how's your day been?", they can apply themselves and project them feelings on something external to themselves. So yeah, I've just been to the football grounds with so and so. Yeah, it was good. I've had a good day. A little bit tired now, so I'm just heading back home. Oh yeah, really. What was it? Was it a good result? And blah blah blah. You know what I mean? We're approaching as friends, and this is game that I've learned through understanding, intelligence agencies, because like spies and stuff, they will find a means into, and that's, we're not approaching it like a spy, but this is game as far as familiarity in the human psyche is concerned. When it comes to what they call sleeper cells, so agents come into a foreign land and, if not on their own home soil, and trying to, get themselves into a criminal organization or something alike, they will appear only on their peripheral initially. So this person who they've targeted will be walking down the street, and this agent will be just waiting at a bus stop on the other side of the street one time, and then not there for so many days, and then there again, and then the next time, once they've assessed the patterns this person is working in, they may walk down the same side of the street, and he might just nod his head in acknowledgement to the other person, and the target has acknowledged this person's existence, but maybe more so out of their subconscious as opposed to their conscious questioning brain. And what that has done is incorporated that person into their life, allowed them to sort of break through the wall of what could be, a problem as far as creating friendship and bond is concerned. And they've slowly and surely edged their way into this person. So now we're now actually communicating in a positive manner. He nods his head, and then, at some point, maybe discussion and verbal engagement happens, and we get to know each other. We ask the right questions, we read the person, and that is how we create something with somebody, right? So this indirect manner and this utilization of familiarity is incredibly potent when it comes to attracting women and creating relationships with women, because them being, the weaker sex physically speaking, their survival mechanisms are in place to ensure you're not harmful and that they don't allow any potential predators in. So that familiarity allows them to have a sense of ease and calm with you, even though they don't actually know anything about you, because you're going to continue to not really allow them to know too much, because that sense of mystery creates fascination in their mind, and they've got a more imaginative mind than we do. So, and that'll link down to a survival mechanism as well. They have to wonder, they have to ponder, they have to work it out in order to be, to survive, in comparison to the man who just through brute force can, action a little bit more aggressive behavior, physically speaking. So that familiarity creates a bond, and they're still attracted to you, and they're still falling in love with you because you are on their mind, because they can't work you out or know who you are, even though they find this awkward, contrary calmness and coolness with you and your energy and what you've given to them, you see? And this is where I can go on a little bit of a tangent, because with the way this was questioned, this is sort of like, I don't necessarily go too personal on this channel. I may speak some particular stories, but I haven't gone into depth as to what relationship, the real concentrated information about the relationships I've been in and what I am in, and so on and so forth. I tend to be more so based on the root understanding and the knowledge and how it applies globally, essentially, because we are all but human and our foundations do lay in the same space. But I'll do a story one time in regards to this familiarity concept, because I was doing driving lessons. I had a woman instructor for a moment, and that was plenty of time to run some game. And I'll tell you what, I was younger, so I was messing about, nowadays I don't necessarily need to do all of this sort of malarkey, but I learned a lot of good game on this, about seduction and whatnot. This woman was older than me, maybe 10 years my older. She was in good shape, she looked good, and she did have a partner, all right? She had a, not a husband, but she had a partner, and I think they had a little bit of a rocky relationship, so, that goes to show what that was like. And I was just running some game over a slow and sure period. I was in the dating market at that time, so I was talking, I was giving the whole pre-selection shtick. If you want to learn about pre-selection, just search everyday superpower pre-selection, learn about that. That's like the most powerful stuff you can utilize. So we had some pre-selection. I was doing little things like, before going, we'd hand over a bit of paper, or like if I was paying her cash in hand, I'd spray that stuff with my fragrance before I even got into the car, like before I even left the house. Just these little things which just allowed me to enter her space and keep myself on her mind when she were falling out of a partner, saying, I'm going to have to turn up late, or I'm going to have to call this lesson off, and I needed to do these lessons. I'd speak to her in a tone, in a stern manner. I was a younger man, and she was an older woman, and she was the professional. But I was like, what you doing? You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And she found, to put a long story short, yeah, she says, when we pass your test, we're going to do motorway lessons, i.e. we're going to get out of the city and we'll go into a hotel and we'll do this, that and the third. And I'll tell that story on a separate video. But this indirect and consistent means of cold approaching, i.e. from a stranger to a somebody, is far more important to me than turning up to somebody with a pickup line. I think that's really ineffective. And I know when you don't have too large of a circle, or a like I say, I'm an introverted person. I'm not the most social person in the world. I never have been. So I don't go out and about and party and just, I get exhausted being in big groups of people all the time and having to put a face on and stuff. That's not me, and I know you can't actually do that because I can read people who are interested, so people can maybe read me, or at least my perception of the world is such that they might as well be able to read me because I can see through everyone else. So I understand if you're not in an environment where you are adjacent to women all of the time. Maybe you work in like a heavily male environment, you work in construction, or you work, you know, in a warehouse of such, which maybe just accommodates to men more so than women due to the nature of the work, and then you go home and you don't really do anything with anyone, then it's very hard to be adjacent to women. But yeah, I can understand if that's the case, going up and approaching people. But if that is the case, you're going to approach them on a level of desperation because it's not really who you are, and it's not really, you know, backed up by a conditioning of being able to do that on a consistent basis, just due to your social environment. It's going to become very forced. Aside from that, dating game and approaching stuff, and I'm going to do multiple videos on this as far as cold approaching and dating lines and stuff. Dating apps, man, you know what I mean? I'd rather just drop someone a message who's already showcased that they're aesthetically attracted to me as far as my image and what I have to provide in the social realm, the online social realm is concerned, than have to just go and approach someone face. So it makes it a lot easier. We go on that first date. That first date is her showcasing that she's interested in me. The only person who can let this down at that point is me, and I never let it down, because once we're sitting there, head to head across the table with a couple of drinks, man, it's easy from there. Honestly, it's easy, and I'll break into that game. So that's a little discussion in regards to approaching. I know it wasn't necessarily the approach you might have been looking for, but I thought I'd put you on some game that this dead forward concentrated approach, this cold approaching method, it's not great. It's really not great. There has to be some degree of indirectness to it, because then the shields are down, you've approached it right, you can ease yourself into her world as opposed to just like forcing yourself in the door. And we know what happens if I just heard someone kicking at the door, and now I'm going to get defensive and I'm going to attack, man. But when it doesn't, yeah, let's leave it at that. All right, that's some game. Click like and subscribe. As always, I upload every single day, and we've got 2 links down in the description. One will take you through to the catalogue of body language, 220 plus videos of how to read people through their non-verbal communication. That's important information. They won't teach you that because of how important it is. Second to that is the Patreon, where you'll join me in watching videos of people dating, real life dates, and I'll break down the attraction cues, the repulsion cues. You'll see it manifest in your real day-to-day wherever you live across the world, and that's information you won't find elsewhere. On that note, I'm signing out. Peace.